Hello there and good evening. You're watching NTV Tonight. Welcome to Murder Tapes. Now, on this week's episode, a man falls from a 7th-floor apartment in Lagos, and in that moment, the life of Nick Emodia comes to an abrupt end. Initially reported as a suspected suicide, a conclusion that might ordinarily close a case, but instead opens a series of questions that continue to follow the circumstances of his final hours. In the days that follow, a different picture begins to emerge. Murder Tapes has now learnt that Nick's death may have involved intense personal and professional pressures now under examination by investigators here in Kenya. And now for the first time on national television, we can go into the personal WhatsApp communication between Nick Emodia, some women and lawyers who seemingly gave some advice to the business mogul, and that those women pushed him to death. It is this communication that continues to shape the questions surrounding what may have unfolded before Nick's death. And so tonight on Murder Tapes, we avoid the temptation of beginning with answers. We start with the trail that was left behind and the difficult task of following it without assuming where it leads. This is Murder Tapes, pleasure, pressure, and suicide. I am Brian Obuya, and so it begins. Shabak, take it over. Nick Emodia arrived in Kenya already carrying the profile of a seasoned corporate operator. A man whose career had moved through some of the most demanding and competitive environments in both global and African business. Beginning with telecommunications at Nokia, where he was part of systems that shaped large-scale mobile infrastructure across African markets, and later extending into senior regional responsibilities at Alcatel. Here, he was trusted with commercial and operational leadership across complex, fast-changing territories that required both technical understanding and commercial precision. From there, his trajectory moved into the fast-evolving digital economy, where he took on a defining leadership role at Konga, stepping into executive management at a time when e-commerce in Africa was still volatile, highly competitive, yet rapidly expanding. And it was in this environment that he built a reputation for restructuring, stabilizing, and attempting to impose operational discipline on a business model that demanded both speed and financial control. By the time he transitioned into the renewable energy sector with delight, he was already viewed as a cross-sector executive capable of moving between telecommunications infrastructure, digital marketplaces, and large-scale consumer distribution systems. And his appointment into senior leadership was seen as part of a broader push to scale energy access models across emerging markets using financing structures and distribution networks that mirrored the mobile money and telecom ecosystems he had previously operated within. In Kenya, he was therefore not arriving as a newcomer to corporate leadership, but as a man who had already navigated multiple high-pressure executive environments, trusted with restructuring businesses, managing regional operations, and delivering performance in sectors where failure margins were low and expectations were consistently high. And within that context, Emodia was perceived as a disciplined systems thinker, someone who understood how to build organizations that could scale beyond personality and operate on structure, process, and execution. It is against this backdrop of a man whose professional identity was defined by control, systems, and delivery that the later questions surrounding his final days emerge, creating a striking contrast between the image of a high-performing executive embedded in multiple layers of African enterprise transformation and the increasingly complex narrative that would follow after his death. Welcome to the story of Nick Emodia, who died on June 25th, 2024. His death got many by surprise in Nigeria, Kenya, and beyond. But thus far, Murder Tips can now exclusively go into what and who actually killed Nick. Before then, it is important for me to state that in law, murder is defined as the unlawful killing of a person with malice aforethought, the clear intent to cause death or grievous harm. In this case, there is no evidence that anyone physically took the life of Nick Emodia. And we want to be clear, therefore, that we are not accusing these women of murder. But the law does not exist in a vacuum, and neither do human actions. The record before us points instead to a chain of pressure, demands, and escalating distress, forces that, while not amounting to murder in the strict legal sense, may have contributed to the circumstances in which Nick died. It raises a harder question. Beyond legal definitions, when sustained pressure pushes a man to the edge, where does responsibility truly lie?
Until his demise in June of 2024, Nicholas was a CEO at Delight. He was the CEO, he was the group CEO of Delight. So Nick came to Delight sometime in 2022, I believe October or thereabout, and he had been working as the CEO. So when Nick came to Delight, he, of course, as any other CEO, he had some entitlements, and one of them was a personal secretary. So Nick was assigned a personal secretary, a lady who we've now come to know her as Diana Kaveza, and she has been working for Nick as her personal assistant and his personal secretary. So in the course of their working relationship, there appears to have developed a romantic relationship between the CEO, the late CEO, and Diana, the personal assistant. So the romantic relationship subsisted for quite some time, and I am aware that even up to the time that Nick passed on, the romantic relationship was still subsisting.
That based on the communications reviewed, there were repeated references to concerns over reputational exposure, including threats as interpreted from the messages. That these threats related to the disclosure of private video content to third parties, including family members and professional stakeholders and executives at Delight, where Nick was the CEO, if certain demands were not met.
So in the course of this relationship, there are certain very disturbing events that took place. Diana Kavesa, the personal assistant, engaged in a very unusual and disturbing activity against the interest of her CEO, the late Nick. Of course, in a romantic relationship, you would expect that when people engage in that kind of relationship, they are bound to get intimate and all that kind of stuff. As this relationship went on, we realized that, or rather, the evidence that we have points out that to the fact that Diana would be the one now tasked to managing Mr. Nick's schedule. And also she was also tasked with, because as I said, they would be meeting regularly for, as a couple, people were dating in a relationship. So Mr. Nick trusted her with finding out or scouting out places where they would meet for the encounters. And Diana would do that occasionally, a number of times. So we know that the very many number of times that she did that, she took advantage of that, and she would clandestinely, without Nick's knowledge or explicit consent, record their intimate moments. So unbeknownst to Nick, this would happen for a long period of time.
That is the classical definition of blackmail.
Diana would, of course, threaten to expose the CEO using this explicit content or explicit materials, the recordings. She would threaten to expose the material to the wife, to the late CEO wife. She would even sometimes threaten to expose this material to the board at Delight.
Now, at this moment, allow us to go into the actual communication and to address the concern of data privacy. These messages were retrieved from Nick Emodia's personal computer. For some unknown reason, he shared his passwords with his brother Godfrey Emodia, who resides in the United States of America, minutes before he jumped to his death.
Okay. So following the death of my brother Nick, we luckily had possessions to his phones, and since we were curious to find out what happened, we found some WhatsApp messages between him and various people, and so that's what led us to this case being filed.
When they now discovered that Nick had an affair with a lady at Delight who happens to be her personal assistant and secretary.
Let's go straight into it. The moment Diana Caveza became pregnant, the dynamic between her and Nick appeared to shift. What had once been framed as a workplace relationship began to unravel, with communication between them growing increasingly strained and confrontational. Murder Tips now turns to a series of messages exchanged between Nick, Diana, and others connected to this story. While tensions between them had surfaced earlier, our review suggests a more defined escalation beginning on November 12th, 2023 at 8:06 p.m. when Diana sent a message to Nick that would mark a turning point.
First of all, if you really wanted to talk about this, you would have. This is just one of the many excuses you pull because you think I'm stupid. Whether I look at you or not, it doesn't make any difference. Secondly, all these conversations are just about you. Your will, insurance, papers, your role, your marriage, etc. These things are the least of my concern. Are you aware that it doesn't take a child to lose all this? Your goal is to want the board or shareholders to trust you, but your child is where you draw the line. You're sending all this on WhatsApp and you're sending as if you want. Do you know I am documenting this for your child and not for me? If you were honest with yourself, do you think you are someone to be trusted?
Good morning. I understand. It has not been easy on my end since it's not something that I planned. I'm not worried about losing my job, but instead, family is what matters. The only thing I'm protecting is my family since I already betrayed them. My job is of no relevance, and that will come and go. What exactly do you want from me? Financial support or what?
Nick and Diana were not in good talking terms. And as a CEO who needed to be in constant communication with his personal assistant and secretary, Nick had come up with a plan to change Diana's role from a personal assistant to a human resource support. Given that Diana herself has a background in human resource management, but Diana was not hearing any of it.
I would like Belinda to hold on for me while on maternity leave, which is only 3 months away. I'll send an official email on that as well, if it's fine with you.
Diana, I think this is a good idea, but I want to go further. Please send an email today unfailingly saying that you will humbly request a change of department because of the complications with your pregnancy, and also requesting the option of working from home to manage all the risks starting next week. But we'll come to the office when you can.
Following a meeting held on Sunday at the hub in Karen, Nick and Diana agreed to enter into a non-disclosure agreement. According to accounts we have reviewed, Nick indicated he did not intend to take responsibility for the pregnancy and was prepared to leave Diana to make her own decision regarding it.
Nick, I can't protect you more than I have. I'm hoping we can come to an agreement before April. I don't mind raising this child alone, but I also don't want to rule out the possibility of you being present for it. I've really worked so hard to be the person I am today. Please don't take me out of my character. I'm not happy that you are the father of this child, but it's a reality I will face. It's disturbing to know you make sexual advances to many women at work, and what's worse is that I'm the only one who got pregnant. I kept a record of how they started, proving that it wasn't consensual. The fact that you asked me to delete everything is the very reason I kept everything. I don't think you understand the gravity of this situation, but I'm getting tired of this.
Let's meet and talk. Tomorrow? Sunday? Monday?
Should be in a public place.
Sure. Pick a location. Sunday?
I will share the location on Sunday.
I need 4 hours notice.
That sounds like your problem. If you won't show up, that's fine too.
Send location.
I don't trust you. This is why I will share my location then.
As the pressure mounted, Nick appeared increasingly overwhelmed. Murder Tips has no direct account of what transpired during that Sunday meeting, but in the messages that follow, his tone shifts markedly, suggesting a man in distress, at moments speaking with a sense of hopelessness and finality. Diana, however, seems to interpret this differently, at one point responding in a way that suggests she did not believe that Nick was serious about his emotional turmoil, even encouraging him to die as she prayed for his soul.
Hi, hope you're okay. Just wanted to let you know that I had an appointment with my doctor today and I'm expecting a son. Unfortunately, only you can give him a surname according to our culture. All I want is for you to be part of his life in whichever way that feels right for you. I know the importance of having a dad based on the absence of having one, and I really don't want my kid to miss out on that. I wasn't happy with your choice of words on Sunday, but I'm hoping things will get better. Meanwhile, our family lawyer is working through the details and will let you know once everything is okay. My whole life I wanted only one child, and I don't mind giving my all to it. The only thing I need from you is to take our child to a good school and just care for him, even in little ways. Doesn't have to be much. The rest I will handle.
Congratulations. Why did you say it was non-consensual? I have made a mistake that I'll pay for. But I can't afford to hurt my family and delight when they hear I raped my assistant, as you put it, which is a big lie. But you've won, and if something happens to me, you should know I did everything out of goodwill. I am waiting for your lawyers, and how unreasonable your demands are before I decide my fate. I am waiting.
Non-consensual doesn't mean rape. You of all people should know this.
Congratulations. You have won. I'm ready for my consequences. Good night.
Why do you hate your own child like this? You should have just said you don't want anything to do with it. How can you call educating your own child unreasonable demands? There's nothing you have done out of goodwill. I've tried, so whatever happens, happens. And if our demands are unreasonable, then no need to present them to you. Fate will decide.
It's okay, Diana. I'll take the consequence. I have no reason to leave if my family, kids, and Delight will hate me. You have not made any demand. If they are reasonable, I give it. It's okay. I will say my goodbye. Maybe you say it's a bluff, but nothing to live for.
I cannot afford to engage with your mindset. There is absolutely no need to present anything to you. May your soul rest in peace in advance. We will have people decide for us. So me and you end here.
But as you will see, Nick and Diana won't end there. On January 20th, 2024, Diana writes,
My resignation or transfer is dependent upon the agreement, but I want to politely warn you, every time you're bringing work issues into this, you're provoking me. Please have a sit down with my lawyer as soon as you can. This is the last month I am stressed because of you. If you want me to share video evidence of us, let me know. Kindly don't bully me.
Now, I'll come to that agreement shortly, but just before that, Diana sent Nick the video in question, an action that, based on our review, appears intended to exert pressure on the CEO on how serious the leakage of these videos and other content was.